In the early hours of a March morning in 2003, a man boarded a plane from Stockholm to Cairo. He never made it to Cairo. He was stripped, sedated, and hooded by masked men in black flight suits. There was no trial, no formal charge, no diplomatic channel, just a plane. And a one-way ticket into America's hidden network of secret prisons, black sites scattered across continents where sunlight and law rarely entered. This is the story of the United States Extraordinary Rendition Program, a global operation operated in silence, disappearing people in the name of freedom. After the September 11 attacks, the United States needed answers, fast. Intelligence was scattered, Al-Qaeda was elusive, and the CIA was handed a blank check to find out everything, everywhere. The gloves were off, as one official later put it. But one thing stood in the way: the law. Torture was illegal, so was indefinite detention. So the solution was brutally simple. Move the body, move the question, move the crime. Extraordinary rendition wasn't new. The Clinton administration had used it 8 times, but back then it was discreet, controlled. Under George W. Bush, it became a machine, a bureaucratic monstrosity with global tentacles fueled by fear, secrecy, and post-9/11 hysteria. It starts with a plane, not a military jet. No flags, no tail numbers that mean anything. A Gulfstream, a Learjet. Civilian, sleek, unassuming. Registered to front companies, Premier Executive Transport Services, Pegasus Technologies. Ghost corporations whose headquarters were nothing more than empty P.O. boxes. Take N379P, for instance, known in intelligence circles as the Guantanamo Express. It circled the globe, hopping from Tashkent to Kabul to Rabat to Bucharest. What was inside? Straitjackets, diapers, goggles sealed with duct tape, music blaring at high volume, sensory deprivation, sensory assault. Men, sometimes boys, drugged into compliance. Detainees were called packages. The pilots? Private contractors, handsomely paid, just following orders. The destination? Unclear, even to the crew. They flew a leg, they got paid, they didn't ask questions. Take Khalid El-Masri, a German citizen, a father, a former car salesman. He took a bus trip to Macedonia for a post-divorce reset. He never returned. Border agents detained him, held him incommunicado for 23 days. Then, at night, they handed him to CIA operatives. He was blindfolded, stripped naked, beaten, and flown to Afghanistan, to the Salt Pit, a secret prison outside Kabul where screams went unanswered. There, he was tortured, starved, interrogated for months. The kicker? They had the wrong man. He had the wrong name. The CIA realized this after weeks, but rather than release him with apology, they concocted a plan to cover their mistake. They dumped him at night on a roadside in Albania, told him to walk. No passport, no explanation. When he returned to Germany, his story was too surreal to believe. And then there was Maher Arar, a Canadian telecom engineer. He was transiting through JFK Airport in New York when U.S. authorities detained him. They sent him, not Canada, not even to court, but to Syria. He was tortured for 10 months in a Syrian prison, whipped with cables, kept in a coffin-sized cell. The U.S. had received faulty intelligence. But again, no due process, just rendition. When Arar was finally released, Canada held a full inquiry and issued a formal apology. The US? To this day, no acknowledgement, no responsibility. How was this possible? In Langley, lawyers were busy rewriting reality. In newly declassified memos, they argued that unless pain rose to the level of organ failure or death, it wasn't torture. Sleep deprivation for 180 hours? Legal. Waterboarding? Legal. Stress positions, sexual humiliation, forced rectal feeding? All argued to be within bounds. In truth, extraordinary rendition was torture outsourced. It allowed the CIA to send detainees to countries like Egypt, Syria, Jordan, and Morocco, places with reputations for breaking men. American hands were clean, on paper, but the outcomes were written in scars. Europe played a role too. More than 50 countries participated, some directly, others by looking the other way. In Poland and Romania, secret CIA black sites operated under extreme secrecy. Local intelligence provided cover. In exchange, they received millions in aid. In Italy, 22 CIA agents were tried in absentia for kidnapping cleric Abu Omar off the streets of Milan. In the UK, intelligence helped facilitate Binyam Mohammed's journey to torture in Morocco. Official denials abounded, but the flight logs told the story. Thousands of takeoffs, thousands of landings, dozens of airports, all undocumented. Ghost flights, ghost prisons, ghosts of the law. Many of those kidnapped never returned to who they were. Some were radicalized by the very torture meant to extract secrets. Some committed suicide. Some exist today in legal limbo, stateless, voiceless, with no recourse. They were never formally accused of anything. They had no trials, no evidence, just suspicion, scribbled into dossiers by analysts. Lives were destroyed, families broken. And for what? No substantial intelligence breakthroughs. No prevention of major attacks. Even former CIA officials now admit, we got it wrong. We hurt the wrong people. Extraordinary rendition wasn't just a counterterrorism strategy. It was a philosophy, a worldview. That fear justifies anything. That oversight is optional. That democracy can pause when the stakes are high. And once paused, it may never restart. In the name of protecting liberty, liberties were discarded. There were warnings, whistleblowers, journalists, human rights groups. But during those years, few were listening. Secrecy, after all, doesn't demand applause, just silence. What disappears in darkness doesn't always stay gone. Sometimes it returns, in courtrooms, in memoirs, in quiet testimonies whispered behind closed doors. The ghosts are still with us. And the planes? They still fly, under new names, with new front companies, for new purposes. But the architecture remains, because what was built in fear is hard to dismantle in peace. If this story moved you, don't let it disappear into silence. Like, share, and subscribe for more untold truths the world tried to forget. Some shadows only vanish when we shine a light. Thanks for watching, and see you in our next video.